Welcome to Wednesday night OWCP chats with Chris and Gini. Hello, everybody on what are we at? Instagram on Wednesday night OWCP
Chat.
chats, and hello to everybody on TikTok on Breaking OWCP,
Over there.
and hello to everybody on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube.
Over there.
Right there, yes. So we're gonna give it a few little minutes here while everybody starts hopping on. We are early. So,
Yeah,
do we have any housekeeping?
No. Normally we have housekeeping items. We don't have any. But I can make stuff up.
Actually, here's some housekeeping. So you guys saw our video that we did on Sunday as we were leaving the Stonewood Ranch
in Oklahoma
City, and we asked everybody to tell us the craziest things, lies, or just things that you don't think it's true that your supervisor said. So we took all of those and we printed out like the best ones. And then Chris is going to tell you, is it true or is it not true?
Yeah, so I have some of them aren't true or not true. True or not true. Some of them I'm just going to make fun of.
Some of them were crazy. We were laughing at I was laughing.
They're worthy at just being made fun of, but I ended up coming up with 20 of them. 20 of your comments, and I'm reading your 20, or she's going to read them, and we'll talk about them.
Yes. Hello, Maureen.
Hi there.
Cindy, hi from New Jersey. Cindy, I hope you know that we have, was it one or two locations now?
One for now.
One location in Edison, New Jersey. So.
Yep, we're getting there.
And then we have one in Manhattan, if you're closer to Manhattan.
And they just opened up in Staten Island, too.
And we're opening up in Staten Island.
That's not really close to Jersey, but...
Yeah. Why does that say show there?
What? I don't know.
Let's see.
Move the thing away. There you go. That's it. Tammy Newman, what's happening?
Okay. We're just going to give it a couple more minutes. I'm going to wind up sharing. Chris is just going to babble on for a little bit.
Babble on.
Why don't you talk about them going, adding us to Breaking OWCP for the podcast coming while I share?
Yeah, so we're going to be running our podcast off the standard podcast channels, but we're also going to very often also broadcast them live on Breaking OWCP's Facebook page. So right now, if you're on Wednesday night chats, you just pop over to Breaking OWCP and hit the follow button. Many of you have not followed Breaking OWCP, but tens of thousands of you follow here. So just go over there before you leave tonight and just hit the follow button. And that way, when I go live or we go live on our podcast, you can see it there if you want to. But of course, our podcast will be, like I said, broadcast over all the normal podcast stations. And we're really looking forward to doing that.
We will not be having it on Wednesday night chats or any other platform other than the Breaking OWCP everywhere else.
Yeah, the podcast is going to be a whole separate thing. And it's mostly for those of you that want to listen to things as you're driving during work or back and forth from work. And so we want to be able to give you something to do in your drive time. There'll be like 30-minute shows on just pertinent topics. And hopefully they'll be entertaining as well. But you'll be able to see them live at Breaking OWCP. And you'll be able to rewatch them, replay them on Breaking OWCP as well.
Hello, let's see. Oh, Iris, you said you're super close to Staten Island, like 10 minutes. Let me know when you're here. Oh, we will definitely know when we're here. When does Staten Island open?
They're open.
Oh,
they're open.
It's news to me. Congratulations. Welcome to Federal Injury Centers of Staten Island.
Wait, I think they're open. You know what? I don't know. Maybe they're open. Maybe they're not open.
Isn't it funny how we do so much? And then the two of us, the president, doesn't even know.
Yeah, I don't know. Hello from Washington State. We do have an office in Bremerton. So, that doesn't necessarily need to be close to you. I mean, I'd rather it be close to you, but it's better than having to leave the state. So we're happy to have you, Kimberly. And hello to Dr. Cooper, who's on here. Dr. Cooper and his case manager, Tiffany, were at an NALC meeting last night in Columbus, Georgia. And they crushed it and were able to really, let people know what we're doing and why you should choose Federal Injury Centers. And not the other doctors that you're going to get your claims denied.
Yeah. Also, we did a training today. I couldn't sit in on it, but we did a training for BOP in Homestead, Florida.
Yeah, it
So
was
you could
not
talk.
BOP. It was
Oh,
Department of Defense. It
oh,
was a base down there,
base.
and I had the executive council there, and just talking to them about what we do and how we help. And I think that it made an impact because it's impactful.
Yes.
But yeah, they're really super nice people for working on a military base. It's always, you don't expect some of these people to be just like sweethearts, but she mentioned BOP. These prison guards all look like offensive linemen and linebackers, and they are the biggest sweethearts on the planet.
Yeah, last year we got to be at their convention in Orlando, and I was like I just kept looking up and up. Like it was super scary, but like he said, they're sweethearts.
No, he said the Staten Island office is open for PT only at this time. So what that means is that the evaluation process is still happening in Manhattan, but nobody has to drive 3 days a week to get help. If they need therapy, they'll be able to go to Staten Island.
Yeah, so you'll go to Manhattan for one time, and then you'll go to Staten Island for your therapy treatment. So it's so worth it.
Yeah, and Paul, the same medical doctor will be the MD at both Manhattan and Staten Island to answer that question. We like to keep our groups as small as possible because it's easier to sort of control everything. So I'm fairly sure that's how that's going to work.
We will be coming to New York, New Jersey, maybe by the end of the year. We're going to see. And a lot of you have been asking on Messenger why we've stopped doing open house and meet and greets. So we're going to start doing a few of them. As you guys saw, I did a post for our Quincy office in Massachusetts. And whenever we do a meet and greet, and we do our part with whatever union, we tell you can come meet us, but this is going to be at Dr. J's office on June 15th. Anybody is welcome to come from any agency, any federal employee.
Yeah, just real quick, Maria Portal said that her doctor keeps charger. That better not be one of my doctors, Maria. Send me a message if it is, and we'll put a stop to that. We have a strict policy against taking money from you, so it can't be one of mine. But if it is, I'll fix it tomorrow.
Yeah, and
we'll retrain.
Yeah, and so the reason we kind of stopped doing the meet and greets. So here's what happens: the staff goes out, they market, and then like 30, 40 people RSVP, and then only 3 show up. So you guys have to understand, it's our time. We have to fly, we have to spend the night, and then on top of that, you're taking up the doctor's time because they're catering and they're doing all this fun stuff for you guys, and then 3 people show up. So it kind of is, when we put it out there that we're going to come, we're hoping that people show up.
To pack the house.
Yeah.
And Maria says, no, not mine. Okay, good.
So that's why we kind of stopped, and we told our offices that we'd like to have at least 50 patients. So those 50 that are there can invite a friend, and then that way they get some training too. Chris always does about a 30-minute mini OWCP training.
A powerful mini OWCP training.
But we get right in and give you all the important topics you need to know. Like, at least that'll get you by.
Yeah.
So we will be making our way down to New Jersey, New York, and stopping at all those locations while we're there. So, but what else before we move on?
No, that's it. Again, if you want the books, I still want you to get them on PDF, and I want you to download it to your phone so you can put Breaking OWCP in your pocket. The website will come up behind us periodically, but it's breakingowcp.com. And look, you need to get it. It needs to be downloaded to your phone, and you need to be ready with it because your supervisors are going to be ready with their ignorance. And the best way to fight their ignorance is with your facts. And there's the books right there. So breakingowcp.com, download them to your phone and put them in your pocket.
And whenever we do conventions, so we'll be starting our first convention next month. We're going to be heading for AFGE, the coal and mine guys out in Colorado. I think it's like a tri-state thing that they're all meeting there. We will be bringing books. So you get a free book whenever we come to your convention, and we bring a lot of books, knowing how many of you guys there are.
Yeah, and sorry, Maria, I have no news to report on a Connecticut office yet, except that we're all intensely motivated to have one there. We just don't yet.
Yeah, and I see some schedule award questions. Hold your schedule award questions for next week because we got the famous Eric Blowers coming on live with us.
You can
Gonna
ask
talk
questions this week.
all,
It's
yeah,
fine. I mean, I can answer your questions, but Eric's going to go in great detail.
yeah. So we don't have an impairment rating doctor in Washington. Just message me and I'll tell you what you need to do.
And yes, Valerie, there is a third book. You can order it on paperback. Excuse me,
Paperwrap.
Yeah, paperback still. I have plenty of paperback left on the third book. I think a lot of folks just got burned out after reading 1 and 2, and so 3 doesn't really sell that much.
Yeah.
But still, I'm paying for shipping on these. So when I ship it out, you're not paying shipping. You're just buying the book, and that's enough to help me buy more postage and print more copies in the future if I decide to do it and manage the website.
Yeah. All right, guys. So let's get into this. I'm sharing. And so I hope that you guys are sharing. And let's get into
And
it.
sorry, I know I look tired. I'm looking at myself like, man, Chris, you look really tired. And my eyes are feeling like they're burning. And since we got back from Oklahoma, like today's Wednesday, I've had to think today, what is today? Several times. I took a nap, which really annoys me, for like 30 minutes. And I just can't kick the weekend. I don't know what's going on. I can't wake up.
Left here like 1 o'clock, got into, well, we had to go to Dallas. Then we went to Oklahoma. We got into Oklahoma about 7 o'clock. And then we got to the ranch about 9. And the guys were all waiting for that one.
I was the last one.
He was the last one there. So, and he hasn't really slept, but maybe 4 or 5 hours Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night.
And then Sunday, we didn't get to bed till 3 a.m. after getting home. And then since then, it's just, I wake up when the sun comes up. And
yeah, so a shout out.
That's just me.
Yeah, a shout out to Sean and Grant and all the guys that were there, and Black Diamond Club. You guys, I heard, even though I was hiding in my room, I heard everything going on.
Yeah, just a side note, I was there. In healthcare, we do these things called mastermind groups, where you get a bunch of like doctors, or in my case, not a doctor, of course, I'm not one, together and share really great ideas. And so the rest of the group can have those ideas. And so I was able to share mine, and they shared their ideas, and the stuff that I learned from them was going to help, improve the way we provide service to you.
Yeah. And so
it's really exciting.
So that we have coaches, just like, so you guys know, like, there's Tony Robbins and all these guys out there that are high level coaches.
Yeah.
So we have high level coaches too.
Our coaches get coaching from those people.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
Shocking. It's really incredible, actually. So, we expect to improve the way we're able to help you as a result of that.
Yes.
But anyways, I haven't really caught up since then. And I've been spending like 12, 14 hours a day in this room working. And so now by the end of the night, the last 2 nights, I was in bed at this time.
Yeah.
Which is different.
We're trying to change our sleeping pattern.
Yeah, to get more work done in the morning.
Yeah. So you can see if anybody wants locations, you just go to Federal Injury Centers. This one is showing all of the social media platforms we're on, and we are on live on all of them. This is the website to get any of the books, breakingowcp.com. And you said there is PDFs.
Yep, of all 3.
This is all of our locations. So you go to federalinjurycenters.com and you click the locations tab. This is what you get at the top of the screen. And then all of the locations with phone number and address are all listed there. Here's what happened today. This lady called me 8 times in a row. I couldn't talk. I was in the middle of something. 8 times
in a row is a lot.
All she was trying to tell me is she needs to make an appointment.
Yeah, it's right up there.
I am not the appointment person. I just answer general questions or tell you guys, hey, just go to the website. So you guys got to call the offices.
But 8, look, to want an appointment for OWCP, 8 calls is not too many.
No.
Because it is that urgent. You should all understand that by now.
True.
If you don't get in to see an OWCP trained doctor, you're pretty much hosed.
Yeah.
So the 8 calls does make sense now that I know that it was somebody that wanted an appointment. But all you got to do is go to the locations tab at federalinjurycenters.com. And it's at the top of the page in red, and it says final location. And then from there, just scroll to your state. And if there is any in the state, you'll see those alphabetical. If not, you're just going to have to find the one closest to you, or Google OWCP injury doctor in your city and state.
Yeah.
And see if there's anybody there for you. Sadly, I doubt there is. We're expanding just as fast as humanly possible.
We really are. So let's get into it. So we did a video. We did a post. And we asked you guys to tell us the crazy things that your supervisors say to you, or if you think it's a lie or you don't understand what they're trying to say, or maybe they just don't know what they're saying. We're going to answer some of those today.
I'm sorry, we have to stop. Ashley Turner is making a point that needs to be heard. She said she went to the Pensacola office. They ordered an MRI, and by the time the results came back, she called to make an appointment, and the office said they were no longer doing this. So here's what happened. That happens. It did happen there. They decided they were not all in. They didn't want to help you. And I can't keep them handcuffed to the company, obviously, because that's bad for you too.
Right.
It's a real, nothing is more frustrating to me, because you've all heard, like, for every one that says yes, 100 say no. Well, here's a guy who said yes and then turned around and said no. And he was in Pensacola and Tallahassee. So that was really painful for us, because it was an area that we thought was really important. And obviously, you know that because you were there. But I'm sorry that happened. You know, I can't keep them handcuffed to the company as much as I want to. And if I did and they hate it, all they're going to do is screw it up and ruin your life. So I'd rather get them out and then start back from the beginning and see if I can find someone who does want to help you, like the other 50 offices that we've got working right now.
Right. All right. So we
got Chicago Steve on Instagram. Dr. Arcoleo.
Hey, Doc.
That's so funny. Chicago Steve here. What's up, Dr. Arcoleo? He's in downtown Chicago. He's a great guy.
All right.
And
again,
he's absolutely crushing it, getting your claims accepted.
Again, so we're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok on Breaking OWCP now, finally, and Instagram, Wednesday night OWCP chats. Okay.
So let's get into this. You all responded to what we asked you, and we said, tell us the crazy things your supervisors tell you. And we narrowed it down to 20 of them because you guys don't have all night. We know that. So Gini's going to read what you said, and we're going to discuss it. They're not necessarily questions, but some of them are just like the comments. And tonight, you're going to get a backstage pass to Chris's brain and hear what I have to say for what the nonsense your supervisors are telling you. So everyone share. If you're not sharing, you're not caring for your coworkers.
Sharing is caring.
Today, when I was on, and believe me, we're going to get to our point, so hang in there, okay? But when I was on today with the DoD group out of South Miami and Homestead, they had never even heard of eComp. And by the way, any of you that are watching that were on that meeting today, thank you for being there. This is not me bashing you. This is your first time here, so you don't know how it works. I'm here to educate people, and what I learned from you today is helpful to other people. So it's not a bash session on you. We love you and appreciate that you let me on today. But they had never heard of eComp. And so, this is a situation where people need to come here and learn some stuff, because someone else that is like in your charge, or just someone that's, in your department, in your station, they're going to get hurt and they're going to need help. And right now you're here to help because you're here. But they're not here to learn. So share it with the people in your Facebook page and your Instagram page. Share it everywhere so that other people know that we're doing this live training every Wednesday night, because there's too many people that said, I wish I would have known you then. Okay. And many of you were them, right?
Yes.
Many of you were the ones that said, I wish I would have known you then. So don't let that be somebody else.
Yeah.
Right? So share it just like she's sharing to everywhere. You share as well. And then go back to work tomorrow and tell your friends that, we're here Wednesday nights doing this.
Yeah. And then at the end, you guys stick around. We're going to tell you what's happening in the next 2 weeks and what's coming. Yeah. So when I say what's happening in the next 2 weeks, what our topics are going to be. So
we got topics. All right. So let's do
back in front. So here we go.
And if we have time, we'll do the ones that outnumber.
So none of these have anyone's name on, so you don't have to worry. We're not calling anybody out.
But if you want to say, hey, that was me, that's okay too.
All right. It's this first one. Supervisor said, your FMLA will protect your job, but it won't stop me from yelling at you and telling you that you should be here working. Parentheses, true story.
Yeah. Your union can stop them from yelling at you, and I recommend that you go to them. I remember talking to an NALC president here in Florida who said that one of his members was being berated, and he was able to put a stop to it by a grievance. So yeah, somebody can put a stop to that, but you definitely don't have to take it. You don't have to be abused verbally at work by anybody. They have no right to abuse you verbally, none whatsoever. So, put a stop to that for sure.
All right.
And by the way, hashtag jerk.
Oh,
I think we
Hashtag
got a new hashtag. We may use it a lot tonight.
Hey, Kathy. Kathy is with our Utah office, Federal Injury Centers of Cottonwood Heights, Utah.
Which is basically a suburb of Salt Lake City. And we've been there a few times. We've had the pleasure and honor of teaching the APWU in Utah. And now the office is just waiting on you because they are fully staffed with a PT, MD, nurse practitioner, chiropractor, and all the support staff. So get there and let them help you. Get your claim accepted. There's nobody else in the entire state of Utah that can help you.
And it's still snowing and hailing there, and I'm not there.
That's a bummer.
All right, number 2. Doctor ordered added breaks due to injury. Director said, sure, we will accommodate you to take more breaks, but we won't be paying you for those extra breaks.
All right. So the doctor said that the person just needed more breaks as their limited duty assignment. And the supervisor said, yeah, no problem. Just clock out. Okay. So they're just making it more complicated for themselves. Every time you are forced to clock out, you're on LWOP. And because you would otherwise be continuously on the clock minus breaks, right? Your lunch breaks and so forth, and you'd get your 40 hours. But what they're saying to you is, well, we're just going to clock you out. All right, well, I'm just going to file LWOP, and that's how that goes. So ecomp.dol.gov, that is that's how you do your LWOP now with the CA7. But you know, a side note to that is my background, aside from OWCP, is management. I have a master's degree in management, and a lot of experience supervising a lot of people. And one thing I can tell you is that had I been the kind of supervisor like that person was, I would have had a massive turnover rate, right? Like there's no way people would have stayed with me because I would have been a jerk, and nobody wants to work for a jerk. Now, that didn't happen. My turnover rate was like 3% over a 20-year period. Do the math on that with 70 people at all times. So, you know, what I would tell the supervisors and what I tell them in every book I've written, I write a supervisor chapter. One of them, I wrote 2 supervisor chapters. I would say, hey, stop being a jerk. And now she told me that maybe I should use fewer bad words. And so I said jerk that time instead of asshole. But what I want to tell these supervisors is don't do that anymore. You're just making your people mad at you. And people who are angry at you don't come to work more often. They stay home more often. It's just common sense. So don't be a dummy.
Yeah. Okay, we have.
And you can. There's going to be questions along the way. Feel free and just hit them.
Okay. Number 3. My supervisor told peers.
Did you hear me earlier say that you told me not to use bad words so much? So
yeah.
Instead of saying jerk, instead of saying asshole, I said jerk. Just
Yes.
wanted to make sure I repeated it, so I said the word twice. Jerk.
And no HE double hockey sticks.
I never say hell anymore.
My supervisor told peers about subordinates and the public in earshot that they were watching cameras for me moving my neck, and if they catch me, it's good for them. Little did he know I already had an MRI and had the results. Can't fake those.
You know, an R2D2 shirt is what comes to mind. Like it's the same colors as like a USPS uniform anyways, because, you know, R2D2 can't move his neck either. And that's just ridiculous. We're just watching you to move your neck. What in the world does moving your neck have anything to do with the work restrictions your doctor gave you? I am certain that your supervisors have no idea because they're not doctors. They don't have a medical license or anything. So what in the world are they doing? But yeah, I read that one too. So we're watching you. They say on camera, right? Yeah, we're watching you. You're on camera. We're going to watch every time you move your neck. So what do they want you to do? Get to work and be less safe? Your restrictions are what they are. There's nowhere on the CA17 that I can recall that says can't move neck, right? It says lifting and bending and stooping and whatever, walking and standing and sitting. But I'm pretty sure moving your neck is not on the CA17. So maybe just go to your supervisor and say, can you just point on the CA17 what you're talking about? Supervisors either are dumb or they're playing dumb. In this case, it's both.
All right, number 4. The I&I for attendance when it's covered under FMLA, 2 within a year.
Well, okay, so you're allowed up to what, 120 days a year, assuming you've accrued that time, right? But most of you are well established 20 plus year, you know, employees. The vast majority of you are like definitely more than 5 years. You've got FMLA built up. So you get 120 days or something like that. What are they talking about? Well, we're going to do an I&I if you're taking FMLA. No, FMLA is there to protect you. It's called the Family Medical Leave Act. Now, for the dummies in the room who are supervisors, that means law. It's an act. It means like Congress said something, and that's that. So let your supervisors know they're not above Congress. They may think they are, but just let them know they're not, and that the A stands for act, and we're going to go ahead and follow the law. Dummies.
Yeah. Number 5, the extra workload is all factored in with your pay.
So is that how it goes, folks? I mean, you get hired on to do a thing, and then they just say, well, look, we can just pile anything we want on top of you because that's already factored in. Okay, maybe not. If you're on an hourly rate, maybe, but you're all unionized as well, and your union contracts mean something. And like I was saying before, I was in Chicago a while back, and I think it was Manny, who I think is still in charge of safety for NALC, but he was a real powerful speaker. And he said something to the effect of, if you give an inch, they take a mile, and you never get it back. The mile. Okay. So those weren't his exact words, but that's how I remember it. But that was his point, is like, protect your contract. Don't let that happen to you. And that's what's happening there. They're trying to take a mile from you in your contract. I just wouldn't let it happen. And I'm fairly sure that your union doesn't want that to happen either.
No.
I'm 100% sure. So my son Aaron is on from Texas tonight, and he said hashtag road to 5,000. Good job, son. Road to 5,000. So yeah, I know. So he and I were actually talking about this last night. He called me. He's like, "Hey, Dad, what's road to 5,000?" And so I explained it to him that it's our mission this year to get 5,000 OWCP claims approved, and we're on our way. Like I was saying that Dr. Cooper's Phoenix City office has 100. Now that's far from 5,000, but you look at the other offices too.
Like the Dallas offices have about 500 claims.
Yeah, the Texas offices are over 500 in total. Dr. Harper in Alabama is over 600. I don't know how far over 600, but he's like way over. Dr. Cox in Charlotte is probably pushing 150, maybe even closer to 200. So we have a lot of offices that have a high level or a high number of accepted claims. But the road to 5,000 is because last year we got 1,125 claims approved. And I said, look, we can do better. We can do way better. We can do 4 times better at least. And so my goal this year is to get 5,000 claims approved. To do that means you all need to tell your friends that we're here doing it. Like I was telling the DOD guys today and ladies that a couple of years ago when we were going up to DC to meet Mr. Kelly and the executive council there.
Yeah, all the NVPs.
For AFGE. And I'm not name dropping. Mr. Kelly's a friend of ours, okay? Like he doesn't look at it as name dropping, so you shouldn't either. But we were up there, and so I prepared a presentation. And one of the things I found is that 1 out of 38 DOD employees had an accepted claim. 1 out of 38? I mean, okay, that's not 1 out of 38 injured people. Maybe there's only, 20 injured people. So 1 out of 20? Maybe there's only 15. 1 out of 15, or if there's only 10. 1 out of 10? I mean, if it's 1 out of 10, 10% of injured people have accepted claims. Does that sound bad? So, we want to get 5,000 accepted claims, and our claims rate is at all times above 82%, and the other 18 or less are just in progress.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that we don't hit a denial every once in a while, and we just go again with reconsiderations and win those. But, we want to get 5,000 accepted claims. The best way to do that is for you to tell your friends that we're here winning. They're not winning. Okay. Like 2/3 of injured people at the post office have denied claims or claims that aren't approved. 2/3. All right. That's 67-ish%. Well, okay. Again, the ones that we've already got approved are over 82%. The other ones are in progress. If we just stop there and said, we don't even care about the other 18%, we're already whipping you by a lot, by like 50%. So, tell your friends if you want your claim accepted, and why wouldn't you? You call federal injury centers because that's what we do for a living. We get your claims approved. So Aaron said, hashtag road to 5,000. Thanks for that, son.
Tim said Metro DC is 152 claims accepted, and it's growing.
Yes, sir. So Tim's our franchisee out in the Maryland, Virginia, DC area. He's got, and he'll correct me if I'm wrong, I think 4, maybe 5, probably 6. I don't know how many offices he's got. He's a freaking warrior. But they're relatively new, and they're already over 150 approved claims. But that's in DC. That means there's a lot of people that still aren't going to them because I think we all know there's a lot of federal employees in DC. So, if you're in that area, why would you go someplace else?
Yeah.
Why would you do that to yourself? Just, give Tim a call You can go to federalinjurycenters.com, check the locations tab, go to that state that you're in, go to the city closest to you and give them a call, and you'll call them directly. You won't call us, you'll call them directly.
All right, number 6. This is what supervisors have said to you folks. Would you please sit down? You are looming over me. Still can't get that one comment out of my head. Granted, the man is vertically challenged, but come on, I'm hurt. Sitting hurts, standing hurts, heck, moving hurts. Thank goodness my FIC doctors wrote me out of work. Swear that man just doing his time to get another pension.
All right, so when I read that one, my vision was like this a little person. I don't think midget people want to be called that, but
what did you say? Short man syndrome?
No. But this person, what I envision is somebody that's like 4'8" and 98 pounds, and like everybody was just looming over that person, right? Like he's like, "Hey, stop standing there! You're the shade is blocking my vitamin D." But yeah, that's little man syndrome for sure. And sorry, supervisors often I wrote about the Peter principle. The Peter principle says that someone got promoted to the point of incompetence. They petered out. We've all heard that, right? So this person was probably named Peter.
Christy, you said your claim is approved. Surgery was last week. I'm still not getting any payment. I gave 3 CA7s in and nothing. What do I do?
You got to find out why you're not getting paid. They send denial letters to you if they're not going to pay you. And in that denial letter, there's a paragraph that says specifically your claim is denied because. And you can take that to your doctor and say, hey, can you do me a favor and just write a narrative report that explains why I should have been paid for this time off. Oftentimes, it's because your diagnosis is like a sprain, and they're like, why are you still off for 3 months? A sprain would have subsided already. When your real diagnosis is a tear or a herniation, but the diagnosis has not been expanded to be added to the claim, that happens sometimes. Or you didn't get a CA-17, that's going to cause you some trouble. Or you did get a CA-17, but you ignored it and stayed home anyways. That's going to cause you like a maximum amount of pain. So there's a lot of options or a lot of reasons why that would happen, but we have to look at your denial letter and find out what they said.
Amy Jo, she said, what happens if you reach MMI spinal injury? No award. It affected my legs, neck, etc. Now waiting on vocational rehab. What do I do?
No, wait, I'm sorry. Would you read that again?
Here, let me just show it to you.
What happens if you reach MMI, spinal injury, no award? Okay, yeah, so look, the spine is not rateable in OWCP. It's not fair, but that's how it goes, unless it causes problems in your arms and legs, hands and feet. And then those areas can be rated. So that's what you got to know. Over here, Cindy said, my doctor tells me I have carpal tunnel and this is work-related. What form do I need to bring? Okay, most of the time I think, and I'm not a doctor, but most of the time I think carpal tunnel is a CA2. It develops over 2 or more shifts. Dr. Cooper's here and some of the other doctors, I think maybe they can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think very, very seldom does carpal tunnel develop in one shift as like a traumatic injury. So I think you're probably a CA2. But when in doubt, go see your doctor and ask them, did this develop in 1 day or 2 or more shifts? And then if it's 1 day, fill out a CA1. If it's 2 or more shifts, fill out a CA2.
We have Black Butterfly on tonight.
Welcome back. We're glad to have you back. Thank you.
What does the expansion for it to be added to your who does the expansion for it to be added to your claim?
Yeah, great question. Your doctor does that. They have to write a narrative report called a diagnosis expansion report. Now, keep in mind, diagnosis expansion report is a title that we coined for federal injury centers. Your doctor may call it something else. I recommend that you tell them to name it what I just said, diagnosis expansion report. And then what they're doing there is they're explaining medically why this new diagnosis or existing diagnosis needs to be added to your claim.
All right. Number 7 from your supervisor. Mine told me that if I went to the doctor for an injury, they were going to give me, I said that already, right?
No.
An INI. Oh, yeah.
It's a different one.
Okay. Mine told me if I went to a doctor for an injury, they were going to give me an INI for not reporting it timely, even though I reported as soon as I finished my route. But if I didn't go to the doctor, they would let it slide.
Yeah. So please get that in writing.
Yes.
Get a witness. If someone else heard them say it, that would be great. This is why I always recommend that you get a union rep to come with you for meetings with your supervisor.
Yeah.
Even if they're just like meetings in passing, because your supervisors are going to say some crappy things like this. And if you have a union rep with you or just a coworker, they can, write a statement that they heard what you said. But what they're telling you is we're going to retaliate. Something bad is going to happen to you if you do this. And that's against the law. They can go to jail or be fined for that. And I'm talking about years in prison. Why would they do that to themselves? Now, if you had my first book, you'd read the rules, laws, and regulations chapter, and you'd be able to show that chapter to your supervisor and show them that law and say, hey, are you sure you want to say this? Because you can be fined, imprisoned, or both.
Yes.
That's not okay.
Heck no.
But get your union involved with this. Your union is the enforcer.
This one's funny. He didn't mark this one where it says you must obey me.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my gosh.
The reason I didn't mark that is I was like, it made me think of like the Emperor and Darth Vader, and I didn't want to get all nerdy, like, obey me. Well, no, thank you. I don't believe I will do that. But,
that was funny.
My dad will tell you that I struggled with that one when I was a kid, too, though.
He doesn't obey me. No, he better. That's okay.
I definitely don't.
Number 8, when you got hit by the vehicle and my knee was bent backwards, yikes. So hyperextension.
Yeah, that's bad.
And I put it back in place myself. Ouch.
You must be a veteran.
The postmaster said, get back to work. So I did a 12-hour day, then went to the ER. What?
Look. You need to...
First, you hyperextended, and then you put it back.
Okay. Has anybody ever seen The Lone Survivor with Mark Wahlberg?
We did.
Yeah, well, we did. I know you've seen it because I was there. But, in this movie, if you can stomach it, because it's really graphic, they like fall off of the sides of mountains. They jump off. They didn't fall. They freaking jump on purpose. And then they get back up and they're like, suck it up. You're fine. Okay. You're not them. So when you're hurt, do something about it. You have the opportunity to leave work, get help, and get paid and have your bills paid.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry that happened to you, but if the next person's here and they hurt themselves and they're thinking about just popping it back in place and just sucking it up and rubbing some dirt on it, don't do that, because you start losing benefits. If you report your injury on day 8, you don't get what's called a CA-16. And the CA-16 pays all your medical bills for the first 60 days following your injury if you have a CA-1 claim. So paying your bills, do you want to pay them or you want someone else to? So you report right away. And it reminds me of the person who had the LOV that caught on fire.
Oh, yes.
And she called her supervisor and said, help, my LOV's on fire. And the supervisor said, quick, run back in there and get the packages out.
Who says that?
Look, do you
think...
And
she did.
Okay, she did. And
sadly.
She had smoke inhalation and she hurt her back throwing packages. So my question would be, the supervisor told you you popped it back in, forget that it was hyperextended, go work some more. I wonder what OSHA says about that. And that's 1-800-321-OSHA. And I wonder if you asked, hey, is that a safety violation? What they would say.
And the funny part was when OSHA did come out after she contacted them, the LLV disappeared.
It was nowhere to be found. I still don't know where it's at. I don't think anybody does.
No,
it was a charbroiled piece of, I don't know what.
Yeah. Number 9.
It was no longer a long life vehicle, though, was it?
Not at that point.
No,
this one is funny because I definitely want to see the supervisors or any of the management, their medical license. If your toe was broke, you wouldn't be able to walk.
Okay. So that one's to me is funny, okay, because it kind of hits home. If your toe is broke, you wouldn't be able to walk. So this person said, my toe is broken. Excuse me. And the supervisor said, well, no, it's not, because if it was, you wouldn't be able to walk. Let me tell you something, buddy. I woke up the other day and I couldn't take a step from here to there. And it felt like my toe was broken, but it was only sprained and I still made it. Okay. But I still made it, but it could have been broken, right? Like it could have been.
Yeah. I've had a broken toe, my pinky.
And also your supervisors don't have orthopedic backgrounds either.
I know.
And I can tell you that I have a more orthopedic background than your supervisors from my undergrad and college. And your toes are made up of like 2 or 3 bones. The top of your foot is made up of several other bones that are attached to other bones in the back of your foot and bones that come down your legs. And they all support each other. One of them can be broken and you can still walk in pain. You all know that. And to me, it even sounds like common sense. But this supervisor was a total idiot.
Yeah.
Like dumb or playing dumb. This one was just dumb.
I'm going to get to your questions in a minute, but this one goes with the broken toe. Somebody different, but it's funny. Customers won't be able to recognize you without all black shoes.
No, wear a mask during COVID. They'll recognize you just fine. But man, you change those shoes and take the black ones off, they don't know who you are anymore.
No, not
Don't
anymore.
wear white shoes with your uniform. Don't do that. Like a postal employee, like take the letter carrier, right? Somebody knocks on my door. They get a package I got to sign for. I open the door. I look down. Like, those shoes aren't black. I can't trust you.
Exactly.
What does that even mean? I can't trust you. You go back and put some black shoes on before you deliver this package. Don't make me call your supervisor. That is the stupidest thing. The customers won't recognize you if you have black shoes on.
Sorry, I just saw one of the posts, and it's one of my best friends, Iris. She moved to New York. She used to live here in Ocala, and it just broke my heart that she's gone. But I am coming. When I come to New York, you know I'm going to come see you in Staten Island.
We will, for sure.
Yeah. Christy Alvarez, I'm being told they can't pay me because USPS will not send them the information they need, like salary, work hours. USPS said they've sent everything. It's not their problem.
Okay, it is, in fact, their problem. They have 5 days from the date you turn in your CA7 to get it to OWCP, and they have to get it in clean. They have to fill out page 2 perfectly.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is go to your case file, pull the CA7 they filled out, if it's even there, and see what they missed, and then call your claims examiner and ask what the heck. Go to your union, file a grievance, and potentially and consult your union on this, but maybe file an EEO claim tomorrow, because they're not treating you fairly if you don't get paid just because you're hurt. See, you have a temporary disability. People with disabilities, even temporary, cannot be discriminated against. When you don't get paid because you're hurt, that is discrimination. I don't scream discrimination. That's not my thing. It's not even, I don't think that way at all. But you got hurt and didn't want to be, and they're not paying you and you need to be. Do something about it. And I would complain to everybody that'll listen.
Yeah.
But I think what happened is your supervisor either didn't turn in your CA7 or didn't fill it out properly or just left things blank. And so now your claims examiner has some explaining to do, because they have to look at this stuff and do something about it. Somebody should have sent it back to the supervisor and said, hey, dummy, you didn't fill in like 5 boxes. It's their job. It's not your job to fill out the second page. It's their job.
Iris, I'll be waiting for your call. Mo Murray said hello from Minneapolis.
What's happening?
Cynthia said, my supervisor has a habit of writing it in a text. I mean, that's good.
Writing what?
I don't know.
Well, whatever it is doesn't belong in a text. It belongs on an official form.
Yeah, but keep the text. Anytime they text you or leave a voicemail, always keep them. Kimberly said, what is I&I? Is that the same as the silly investigative interviews they do at my office?
Okay, so that's what I thought too. And I Googled it, and I came up with answers that didn't make sense to me. I'm not a federal employee, and sometimes I come across terminology that's confusing, but I think it's investigative interview. But somebody on here is going to answer that for sure. So somebody please comment, what is an I&I? Meaning I, A-N-D, I, and I. So what is that? I think it's an investigative interview too, though.
All right. Tiffany said, to get a schedule award, you need to be at MMI. If you get a schedule award and the injury worsens at the time, what happens? Management says your schedule award closes your case.
Well, management is either dumb or playing dumb. It doesn't close your case. You have lifetime medical. So let's say you get a schedule award. That just means you can't get OWCP pay at the same time you get schedule award pay. But you can pause one and get the other. It doesn't cut you off. That's ridiculous. Management saying, hey, you got a schedule award. Come back to work with your impairment, your permanent impairment. Look, idiots, to get any award, it means you have some permanent impairment. It doesn't mean like, oh, great, I got money, I'm coming back to work. No, you got money because something's wrong, and it's going to stay that way forever, potentially. So your supervisors, again, are just dumb or playing dumb. And in this case, it's probably a case of dumb.
This one, I think I would have taken a soda.
What number is this?
Number 10.
Okay, we're halfway done.
It's actually really number 11.
Oh, it's number 11. Okay, yeah. Let's go.
This one wanted me to take a glass Coke bottle and crack it over their head, because I would have just literally walked out. It says,
we don't do that. You'll make it on the news.
Yeah. reschedule a major surgery to suit their schedule. So the supervisor is telling the employee to reschedule their surgery because they're probably short staffed or something.
You need herniated disc
What?
back surgery. You can't bend. You can't even stand up straight. You can't take a step because your right leg hurts so bad it feels like you got a hammer up against your calf. I'm speaking from experience. You can't lift anything, but your surgery you're going to need to reschedule because boy, do we really got to have Mel delivered. That's ridiculous.
Yes.
Ridiculous. I investigative interview.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tanya.
Yeah, that's what I
And
means.
hi, Tanya. Say hi to Nino.
Yeah,
if he's
hi,
not
Tanya.
listening.
Okay, number 11. This one, we're going to cover it because we're having woodshed night in 2 weeks.
I'm bringing a whole 2x4.
I'm bringing an axe and some wood.
Damn.
Yeah, we're going all in.
Axe murderer.
If you file for an injury, we will fire you.
Oh, please put that in writing.
Then in last week's class, I remembered an argument with a city supervisor who told me it doesn't matter if you're injured, it doesn't matter if you're crippled, even if you're handicapped plates. Postal employees are not allowed to use the employee handicap parking spot or any other handicapped spot because it mostly doesn't look good. I disagreed, but eventually ended up moving my car.
Tanya, was that you? Okay,
No.
so I know that happened to her and that happened to somebody else. And I said last week I was going to learn something about. I hate using the word handicap. That's my own thing.
He hates that word.
I do.
He hates that word.
But spots for people that have those stickers and stuff. And I still am going to learn something about it more than I already know. But let me just say this. So the reason I hate that is when I was in college, my minor was rehabilitative studies. And I took counseling classes. Like I learned how to do individual counseling. I'm not a counselor, but I learned it. And I did rehabilitative, I went to weekends with kids with disabilities, like severe developmental disabilities. And I mean, I even went once with crutches because I just blew my knee out playing football. And these kids were like Superman strong. Okay. And I was on crutches. But one thing that I learned is if you use the word handicap in a paper that you turn in, you get a 0. The professor stops reading because it's not politically correct. Now, I'm not always politically correct, but people with disabilities didn't ask for that. So anyways, I don't like the word handicap. I think they've come up with something else, like ADA's probably got a different word.
Yeah.
But you think if you're the person and you like are missing a leg or something, you're not the disability. You're the person and you happen to have a disability. And that's, anyways, that kind of shaped me from when I was my son's age. Our sons, all of them actually, age.
Okay, he didn't mark this one, but come on.
Go ahead.
The workers' comp doctor said my foot surgeon's office didn't know how to take an x-ray of her feet.
Okay. Well, if that's true.
First of all, the doctor doesn't take the x-ray.
I mean, sometimes chiropractors often do.
No, I'm saying, but like
chiropractors often do their own x-rays. But yeah, if your foot doctor can't take a foot x-ray, you might be in the wrong place. But the other thing I took that as is that maybe the doctor was like unnecessarily criticizing the foot doctor's x-rays, and maybe that doctor didn't know what they were doing.
Maybe.
I think somebody needs to get on the same page with what's up, though.
Which leads me to number whatever. She told me my doctor was fake. I have a good friend who served in the Air Force Reserve during his time as a letter carrier. His manager said the VA doctors were not real doctors and denied his SL. He fought with her for years over his orders to do his 2 weeks active duty sick leave, you name it. Finally, a higher up warned her to back off or they would transfer her. She played dumb and she said she never disapproved anything. My friend was so stressed out. This is the same woman who actually locked the doors to the retail window when 9/11 happened. Where do they find these answers?
Okay, so let me say this: this person wasn't playing dumb.
Wow,
this was an actual dumb person. Yeah, this one blew me away. What my doc that said the VA doctor is not a real doctor. Look, we have the pleasure of having been able to meet lots of world-class VA doctors. Yes. And I've even seen the line of very young doctors straight out of college. They're just waiting on free food in the break room, but they all still look like way smarter than me. So I think people who are not doctors should not criticize those who are. That's ridiculous, and their opinion doesn't matter.
We do tell you that if you do work in the VA, I mean, unless it's a complete emergency, go see the VA doctor, but they don't really have the time or the training on how to write narratives to help you get your claim
Well, you're
accepted.
not the mission. The
Yeah,
mission are veterans, who
right.
fought in wars and need help. That's the mission. And so it's not the doctor's fault that they're not OWCP experts. They're just not experts in what you're dealing with.
Right.
That's why you need somebody like us who is. But those are world-class doctors. Believe me. My father-in-law goes to them and he swears by them.
He
and,
loves them.
And believe me, he's no dummy. And I would tell anybody that because he's a sniper. And so, but he knows for sure that these doctors are world-class doctors.
Christine, you said you lost sound. So we always tell everybody just get out of the chat and then come back in. We're sorry about that.
But if anybody else is having the same problem,
Yeah.
let us know because I got to work through the bugs in my new equipment.
Miss Butterfly said, at my station, a carrier had a wreck on the way back to the station. The only concern that the supervisor had was, did you deliver the express? Oh my goodness. I understand it's important. That's why people do express.
But yeah, it's important, but tell the supervisor to go do it yourself. And that wrecked vehicle is probably going to get in another wreck on the way because something's wrong with it. You go.
And we're not telling you to like start an argument with the supervisor.
Nah, you got enough problems with management. But
right.
Look, my deal as a manager is that I feel uniquely qualified to bash managers that do a bad job. And they don't have to like it. Like they're not required. I don't have like any mandate that says, hey, manager, you got to require I require that you like being bashed. But the bottom line is you're getting bashed and just like it.
Yep.
You don't have to like it, but you know what? Just like it because that's how it is. It is how it is. I used to fire people like that. I would tell my supervisors that, if your people come and complain to me too much, it's your fault. You're out of here.
Right. This one. Harasses you to get back to the supervisor harasses you to get back to work when you are out on an injury and doesn't follow the physician orders. Okay, all of you and a lot of you tell us this. I mean, and Chris covered this, I think, last week or the week before on the CA7s. So pay attention. If they don't follow the doctor's orders, what do you do?
1-800-321-OSHA. See, your doctor is writing restrictions to keep you safe. The S in OSHA is safety. And so you got to call OSHA and say, hey, is it a safety violation for my supervisor to ignore, my non-medical supervisor, to ignore my medical doctor's restrictions? The answer is, of course, yes. File a grievance. Your union should be strong enough to handle that. The union reps that we know are for sure. And EEO claims and everything else you can do. I want you to throw the book at them. Give them every consequence you can give them under the law. So EEOs, OSHA calls, and grievances are the three that come to mind.
Okay, so I'm going to finish up. We have maybe 5 more on our papers. And then everybody that's commenting on the chats, I will come back to those questions. We'll make sure we answer them all.
Yeah, we'll go a little long again tonight, like every night.
I got assaulted on the work floor room.
Jesus.
I filed a CA1 and then got a letter of warning for it because I didn't inform them I was filing, and 2 of them saw it happen. This is crap.
Yeah, so it is crap. So the CA10, hold on just a minute. I happen to have one. So check this out. So this is the newest CA10 that was revised October 2021. It says report to supervisor as soon as possible, which is junk. Report now. But, if you leave immediately and fill out a CA1, guess what that does? What does that do? It gives the supervisor a notice that something happened. You just got reported. I do recommend going to the supervisor and saying, I was hurt, something happened, I'm going to fill out a CA1, there's an email coming to you.
Or let somebody know if you can't let them know.
What's your correct email address?
Right.
Okay? Because you need to make sure they get it. But what are they going to do? Write you up because you didn't tell them? They got notified because you filled out a CA1 and ECOMP and they got an email. So that's absolutely freaking ridiculous.
Yeah. This one. This is the one, honestly, if I even heard this, I would have asked for their medical license. Supervisor said, why did you have surgery for a tear? You should have gotten a second opinion. It was a rupture. First of all, how does a supervisor know that it was just a rupture and you should have gone to a second opinion?
A rupture. Huh? Dr. Cooper, correct me if I'm wrong. A rupture is a tear that completely removes itself from the bone. It wasn't a tear. It was a rupture. Okay, you freaking idiot. It was worse than I said. What are we talking about here? I had
Crazy.
I had two ACLs that ruptured.
Yep.
They didn't just tear. The doctor told me that he washed them out bit by bit, particle by particle, with water through the holes in my knees when he did surgery. That's a rupture, you dummy. Dumb or playing dumb.
Yep. Uh,
I told you I was going to have some fun with this. It's not like we're teaching anything tonight. Really, everyone's just kind of getting a feel for what I think about their managers.
wait till woodshed night.
Oh my gosh.
I'm bringing my axe and wood if anybody steps out of line. All right.
Axe murder. I got to sleep with her.
Those federal employee treatment centers keep you there as long as possible to make more money.
Okay, I don't think they were specifically referring to us, but if they are, get the name right. It's federal injury centers, not
No.
federal employee. I know.
Oh.
She's a little slow in the uptake. Okay, look, we're not federal injury treatment centers. Who is that, anyways? Who's federal injury treatment centers?
I don't know.
What do they say?
It says those federal employee treatment centers keep you there as long as possible to make more money.
Name. I could have named our company that, but it's federal injury centers, not federal employee treatment centers. No, I'm going to say this, not federal injury treatment centers. But the point is, centers like ours that are there to serve you when you get hurt. Actually, there's nobody like ours. There's just us. So here's how we work. We send everybody back to work, and I'm not a doctor, so I don't make return to work decisions, but our doctors' philosophies generally are the best way for you to get paid is to clock in. The best way for you to clock in is to go to work. So our offices get you back to work. I was talking to the DoD group today about this.
Right.
And I was saying, look, don't be scared to be out of work, because I understand your feeling as employees. When you're out of work, somebody else is picking up on the job that you're not doing, and you don't want that, and I respect that. But, one of my rules that you heard, 2 weeks ago, my 20 rules?
Yeah.
Was I don't care what my supervisor thinks.
Yeah, last week.
So what they're thinking doesn't really matter to me. Who cares what they think? But yeah, look, these federal injury, whatever doctors, they just keep you out of work. Well, okay, maybe some of them do.
Our doctors don't.
Ours don't. Ours know that the best way for you to get paid and not have to jump through hoops is to go to work. So they use a CA-17 to write restrictions that make you safe. What happens is your supervisors are jerks and won't let you come to work. Forget your supervisor's feelings, Kevin. That's right. And I don't mean forget. And you know what I mean.
The supervisor doesn't understand that the doctor is making a medical decision on your issues. So if they say you have to come to therapy 12 weeks and then you're at your 12 weeks and you need more because you're still not better, you're going to get more. That's the doctor's choice. Not about making money. Let me tell you how much it matters
to me what your supervisor thinks about that. Why did you have 12 physical therapy sessions? It shouldn't take that long. Let me just tell you all the different ways I don't care what they think. And you shouldn't either. So, F your supervisor's feelings. And of course, F means forget, Kevin.
Okay. If this is funny. It's funny, but not funny.
What number is this?
It's not 18.
Oh, okay.
If you can walk inside to turn in a CA-17, why can't you walk into work? Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. All right. So
because you guys the supervisors don't want you faxing it in.
Yeah, wink, wink. Kevin.
So how are you supposed to get it?
Yeah. So remind me to tell a COVID story in a second.
Okay.
But that relates to this. But look, because you can walk in to turn in a CA-17 doesn't mean you can stand for 8 or 10 hours a day carrying packages, stooping, bending, lifting, walking up and down stairs. Come on, man. Anyways, it reminds me of a story during COVID. And I heard this from a union president. He said that they were obviously everyone required masks. And I'm speaking of the Postal Service in particular. But this one station said, if you don't have a mask, there's a desk over here, just come get it. And you could walk over to the desk and get it. Well, what happened is they put the desk in the middle of the workroom floor. And anybody that walked in to their station had to walk to the middle of the floor and get their mask. So because they had to walk from the front door to that desk, they got written up for not having a mask, walking from the front door to the desk where they said that's where the masks are if you don't have any. They were getting written up. And then we saw a picture of the two people writing them up. And guess what? They weren't wearing masks. supervisors are dumb or they're playing dumb.
Let me tell you something. I've been a nurse. I've worked in doctors' offices and hospitals, and I thought it was crazy there. And what supervisors and some of these CNOs and nurse managers do was crazy. But you supervisors have it worse.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought it was bad. Right. And okay, so here
Well,
goes.
have it worse. They are worse.
Yeah. Well, yes. Yes, they
That's
are
what you
worse.
meant. They're worse.
19. This is another crazy one. If you can drive to therapy, you can drive to work.
Except when you're driving for work, you're lifting packages, reaching your arm in and out of the vehicle. You know, if you're a letter carrier, if you're a federal law enforcement officer, you're carrying a gun and you might have to chase somebody. Like, there's a lot of scenarios that mean you can't drive for work. Maybe your reaction time is too slow, and so they don't want you on the clock when you can barely move your right knee to go from the gas pedal to the brake pedal. Again, your supervisors are not doctors. They don't have a medical license, and just ask them to show it to you because they ain't got one. And if they continue to make you go outside of your restrictions, 1-800-321-OSHA and file a grievance.
We were just talking about it. Chris was answering one of the questions from my messenger where the guy who said 48 miles and he had a broken foot.
Yeah.
How is he supposed to drive into work? Maybe somebody drove him there and obviously he had to walk in and limp in to take in his CA-17, and they got upset at him for that. And so now they want to push him out 50 miles more.
Which 50 miles is against the rules, but 49 is not.
Supervisors, come on.
That's the last one there.
Last one. When they require you to fill out a form CA-17, when they have yet to have generated a form CA-1, which is the first base when filing an injury claim.
Yeah, so fill out your CA-17 without a work injury filed. Okay, no. So go ahead and fill out your CA-1 and get a CA-17 to take to your doctor after that. That's just management not understanding the system. And all of you that are here and that have been for the last hour already understand OWCP exponentially better than your supervisors do. Bank on it.
All right. So now we're going to go to all the questions that you guys have been putting on here because we finished ours. And thank you so much for all of those comments. I mean, there was so much more, but a lot of them we'll be covering in the next couple weeks with different topics.
I only had an hour, so I had to pick and choose, but they were all great comments. Next time we ask for them, please don't hesitate. We want more comments. I love doing this.
Yeah, it was pretty neat.
2 weeks ago, last week we did your questions.
Yeah, your questions.
That was fun, and you made me really work on that one. And then this one was your comments. I think it was a lot of fun.
Okay, so we're at Cindy Clark's question. I had knee surgery. No, I had a knee injury in 2015. I've had 2 surgeries, and now I need a knee replacement. My case has been closed, so I'm trying to get it reopened. My supervisor didn't work at our office when I had my initial injury. I gave him the CA2A paperwork, and he said he didn't know how to fill it out, so he sent it to the postal OWCP office in Utah. It's been 3 weeks and I can't seem to get any answers. I've called and left multiple messages. Should I be calling another office? Or should I send my part of the paperwork in separately?
Yeah, the other office you should call is your union office. That's who deals with this.
Yeah.
Look, many of you are going to say, yeah, my union doesn't do this and, whatever. But my experience is different. The union folks that I know and am friends with would take this one and run with it. You need to find somebody in your union who wants to help you. You need union help.
And we always tell you, if you can't get with if you can't get with the union, call your rep, your district rep, your NBA, and just keep going up the ladder till somebody gives you an answer.
Yeah.
And I know somebody was telling me, I'm not going to say names about any craft what it is, but somebody called the national, and the national person told this person there's really nothing he could do. He's got to take it up with the union. So I felt a little bad because I didn't know what else to say, because here we are telling you, if you have to make your way up to national, you have to. So what do they do in that situation where their union isn't helping and the national even isn't helping?
It sounds like when you get to the national office, you've kind of hit the end of the road. I guess start over and find someone else in your local that may be interested.
Always reach out to us to see what we could do, because a lot of the times you guys have some sort of issue.
And we may know a union person that wants to help.
And we could help you. Our offices can reopen closed claims. We fix denied claims. We start new claims. So we do it all.
But we can't reprimand your supervisors or file grievances or file EEOs or call OSHA on your behalf. or labor board charges. Those are things that you and your union have to do, and you got to find somebody in your union that's motivated to help.
And you have to understand, all of our offices know they are not, the supervisors should not call our offices, and our offices, our case managers or doctors are not going to speak to the supervisor
No,
if they
they're
happen
trained
to
to let them
call.
know they just violated the law.
Yeah.
And that we're going to let you know so you can file a grievance.
That's a huge HIPAA
It's a
violation.
big deal. Yeah, we don't communicate with your supervisors outside of you knowing that it's happening.
Yep. Holly Pelton said, question, I've been getting asked all the time, what's wrong with you because you look like you're fine? Oh my goodness. Yeah, you look like you're fine because you're smiling and trying to hide your pain.
I can't even respond to that. That's just stupid.
Come to woodshed night. I'm bringing my axe.
Yeah, tell your supervisor to show up. We'll take care of them.
Pam, my route was a phantom route, and now as a hire taking over, what happens now? My PO says she has to keep me busy.
That's a union problem.
We're sorry, we're giving you these
No,
crappy
but look,
answers.
If there is a silver lining there, it's that you get to clock in and you don't have to file for LWOP. That's the only silver lining. But being treated unfairly or like you're second class isn't okay with me. It's not okay with her either. And but the only way to fix that is for your union to make it stop.
Yeah. Mo Murray said, so I got injured on the job, have a serious injury, and I didn't report it the same day. I was told by another carrier and supervisor that I couldn't report it as it wouldn't be covered. I'm currently working through PT with my own insurance, but was also told by the union that I could file a CA1 up to 3 years for my injury. Absolutely true.
Yeah, that's true.
You have 3 years.
Anybody that says, "Oh, you didn't report it yesterday, you're screwed," that's BS.
Yeah.
You have 3 years. 3, folks. You know what we hear all the time is 2 weeks, 3 days, 30 days, 45 days. I don't even know what any of this means. 1 week. What is it? It's 3 years. Read the law.
Yeah, so if you didn't file it,
perfectly timed to read the book.
If you didn't file it yesterday, why the heck can't you file it today? And you just go on ecomp.dol.gov to file. Just make sure you have your supervisor's email address. That's the important part.
Such idiots.
I know. And he also said, my supervisor said that we have to ask permission to fill out CA1s. My injury is not healing due to working through it.
Yo,
what?
Well, you know what? Rubbing some dirt on it doesn't help either. You got to go and get help from your doctor and your therapy everywhere to actually get better. Get your claim accepted. Get a CA17 that takes you off of work if needed. File for your LWOP. Have the right diagnosis approved. That's your doctor's job. And then your supervisor's job is to fill out the paperwork and get the heck out of the way.
And if you need help, there's our website. Go on there and find a doctor that's close to you or anywhere. It doesn't have to be our
tab right there.
It doesn't have to be our location, but reach out and call an OWCP doctor.
Yeah, even if you know one that's not a federal injury center's doctor, that's fine.
Yeah.
You need to go to them.
You just need to go.
But if you go to the urgent care, your family practice, an orthopedic surgeon, a VA doctor, you're going to get hosed. You got to find someone who's trained in OWCP, and they're hard to find.
Yeah, if we know somebody, we'll tell you.
Look at all those.
Yeah, I know we're not down this much area.
Working on it.
We're working on it. Joe is working on it.
We used to only have 7 offices. Now we got 51.
Tiffany Elliott said, as long as you have a handicap voucher, you have the right to park there. They have to deem you disabled in order to get the voucher.
Yeah, that's the government deeming you that. So how can your agency overrule, somebody above them? Obviously.
Nestor Torres said, hey, Nestor, I've been out of work for 1 year. I had my second surgery last week. How do I know if I get a schedule award? The surgeon told me most likely I will be out for 6 months minimum after the surgery.
Well, the schedule award is about, number 1, having your claim approved. Number 2, having a diagnosis that is rateable, an impairment rating, rateable. Number 3, hitting maximum medical improvement, which is a doctor's decision, not our decision. And then 4, getting a 6th edition impairment rating, not a 5th, for the injury. And then number 5, turning that into a DOL on a CA7, selecting letter D schedule award, and then crossing your fingers and hoping they don't deny it. And when they deny it, you get the denial letter and have your doctor fix it. Sometimes you need a lawyer for that too, but that's one of the rare occasions you actually need a lawyer.
Cynthia said, maintenance on LLV, drive it anyway.
Yeah.
So your LLV can just kill you while you're driving it.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh.
forget that it doesn't have air conditioning or heating, and that it sometimes catches on fire, or, that it's 35 years old. Don't worry about any of that either.
Oh, geez. Kimberly Carroll said, I had a total of 6 shoulder surgeries. My right shoulder has restrictions. I can't raise above my waist. It's never going to get better. Doctor released me to part-time work. I can never be a roll carrier again. Post office says that they would do anything for me to do. Do they have to find me something to do?
Okay, so they don't have to find you something to do. They have to make every effort to find you something to do, but they don't have to actually find it. Another option for you is one that I don't like, and I'm not recommending it. I'm just for educational purposes. Federal disability is for this purpose. If you can no longer do the federal job that you're doing, you could go do something else and get a offset from the Office of Personnel Management. By year 2, you'd be only making 40% of your income, but you'd be able to get another non-federal job making up to 80% of your previous income as well. So in theory, you could be making 120% of your income, but you wouldn't be doing what you're doing, and you wouldn't have those benefits as a federal employee. It's not a good thing. It's not why I don't like it, or it's not. It's why I don't like it, and it's why I don't like to talk about it.
Here, this one's funny from Dr. Cooper. We'd save a lot of time taking x-rays if we could just look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, your foot doesn't look broken.
Yeah, you're fine. I don't know why you can't walk.
Brenda said, what is SOAF? Where are you seeing that from? Because unless somebody on here knows, we don't know what that is.
But somebody else answer that. I have no idea what SOAF is. And thank you. Is that Brenda?
Yes.
Thank you, Brenda, for stumping me. That never happens.
Melissa Ross said, you do not need permission to file just to go on eComp. She's absolutely right. We love Melissa.
And Melissa knows her stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She knows her stuff. So whatever she's telling me, she's right.
She sat on one of our open house.
Well, more than one.
Yeah. And okay, so she said, you do not need permission to file. Just go on ecomp.dol.gov and you register and file your claim.
She's right.
You have 3 years to file. It's a CA1 if it was a traumatic injury, can pinpoint it happened in one shift. A CA2 is it happened over time, occupational injury.
Melissa, I'm very proud of you. I trained you well and you listened well. You're very good. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
And listen to this, what Dr. Cooper said. Rupture of a disc, ligament, or muscle, partial rupture. When supervisors start diagnosing, be very afraid, very afraid.
Yeah, and X-ray doesn't show that stuff. Statement of accepted facts, SOAF.
Oh, okay, there you go. Something we learned today.
Dr. Cooper said, son of a file of grievance.
Oh my gosh, Dr. Cooper.
I love it. That's exactly right. File a damn grievance.
Brenda Smith said,
it's like Billy Joel says Brenda in one of his
songs. It's only a sprain. Why aren't you back at work? It was a tendon tear in my ankle. Had a coworker ask after surgery if I was up to walking yet. What? Yeah, next day after surgery. Come on, let's go for a walk.
Yeah, I ruptured that tendon. I ruptured that tendon. I'm ready to go now.
Miss Moore said, I received reasonable accommodation when my doctor completed a CA-17. And if there's more, please let me know. Yeah. See, Kevin said, forget your supervisor's feelings. It's your health, not the supervisor, guys.
That's right.
Doug Lambert said, I filed a claim for a work-related injury. I was sent correspondence from OWCP, and I sent documents at some point. I asked for an extension to provide documents. I was notified my case was closed based on OWCP not receiving what they requested. I have since then retired. Can I request my case to be reopened? I will be retired for 2 years on August 1st this year.
Yeah, just have your doctor write a letter of medical necessity explaining why your case needs to be reopened. That's what it takes, is your doctor to send in medical information that explains why your case should be opened.
Rebecca said, there is no light duty. The supervisors always say that.
Yeah, well, if they send you home and your case is accepted, there is no setting at home without pay. You're going to get paid.
Holly, I love it when they say, I need to go to the doctor. I need to go to the doctor you go to so I can stay out of work like you. Or can you talk to your doctor about your restrictions?
Okay, so the doctors don't want your supervisors as patients, although we will help them. We've helped some supervisors. Sorry, don't hold that against us. But a hurt person is a hurt person, so we do what we got to do. But that's just, don't be such a jerk. God. Like, I don't understand it. You know how many of these I would have fired every one of your supervisors.
He would
I would
have.
have just fired him. I would have been like, I don't even want help. I'll do the work myself. That's how bad this is. It's ridiculous.
Melissa also said, file a claim with the National Labor Board if you can't get management or the union to help, if it's a true violation. So pay attention to that, guys.
Yeah, that's right. So I got taught that too by a union president. The labor board charges are powerful.
Yeah.
If you can win a labor board charge or dispute or whatever you call it, it holds precedence for future labor hearings.
And we know some powerful union presidents that win almost every one of these.
In my future life, I'm going to be a union president. I think I'll probably kick ass.
In your future life?
Yeah, future life. When I'm done solving the OWCP problems, I think I'll just go and like join a union.
Teresa Sanchez said, National Human Relation Director is who the NBA gets their answers from. This is where I got my answer about LDJO.
Okay. Look, I would say that they probably know what they're talking about over there, so I wouldn't have any reason to dispute it.
Miss Butterfly said, I was injured a year ago, only talked to my claims examiner twice. The tone is always aggravating. And what do you do? What do you want? So what are they for?
I know, right? Well, so I heard recently, and if you're a claims examiner listening, no offense to you, but I heard recently there's a lot of unqualified claims examiners hired, and I think they're just trying to like staff up so they can help more people. But that means they need a training program. Our training program kills it. Ask Dr. Cooper, he'll tell you.
Let me just switch over real quick.
Yeah, so we got batteries dying. We're going to have to end this soon. Otherwise, folks over here and over here are going to be done.
Okay. All right. Let's see what we got here. 15 comments. Ms. Harvey said, even if they have a medical degree, they are not your doctor. She's absolutely right.
That's right. Yeah, that's a smart point. That's exactly right.
Oh my God, my brother's so goofy. I have a question. How do I get an appointment with you guys? Call Krishan. All right, guys. So that was the end of all of our questions and the ones we took from when we asked you guys to leave us some comments. So this has been fun. The last 2 weeks have been so much fun doing these questions. What can we do this
next week? Wait, we got Eric next week.
So yeah, everybody here, let's wrap things up. Next Wednesday, we have Eric Blowers on, and I asked him, can you give me 2 hours? Because I know how this goes. Our Facebook pages and all our social media stuff is just going to blow up because Eric Blowers is on, and it's Blowers, not blowers, not blow and ers.
Or maybe it is, but that means that everybody watching over here where I'm pointing, you're going to have to be over here next week because he won't be on that screen.
Right.
And if you're on TikTok, don't watch it on TikTok next week. You need to come over here. Unless you want to see our faces.
And
if you want to see Eric, you need to be over on Facebook or YouTube next week.
Yeah, so Instagram and TikTok, you can, if you don't have Facebook or don't want to go on
watch on YouTube.
Go to YouTube. YouTube is free.
Wednesday night, OWCP chats with Chris and Gini on YouTube.
Yeah. All right. And so, let's see. All right. So yeah, that's all of our questions. So thank you guys so much because this has been kind of fun for us instead of just like bashing your heads with rules, laws, and regulations, which the following week, May 2nd,
Woodshed night.
We have Woodshed night. Bring your chainsaw and your axe and your knives and some wood because we're going out back.
Okay, so that's
like we
funny.
were in Oklahoma.
All that is funny. We do not promote violence. Don't do violence. If any of you have like chains and 2x4s and axes, leave that stuff at home when you go to work. We're just having fun with it. But we will bring your supervisors behind the woodshed. They're not allowed inside because that's where like the refreshments are. When we're done out back. But we're going to take them out back in a couple of weeks and give them the what for. But all we're going to give them is a what for. We're not actually going to hit them with a 2x4.
I want to let you guys know, I decided to do Eric Blowers and then Woodshed night because for the month of May, Chris and I are only home for 10 days. That is it. Out of, is it 31 days? Yeah, 31 days in May. Yeah. We are at home only for 10 days. That is it. We don't have a weekend off until May 27th. That is our only weekend home. And then we're back on a plane again. So we're going to Fort Lauderdale, flying out of Miami. We're going to Vegas. We're
Hold
going to
on, wait.
Colorado.
We're going to Vegas.
Yes.
And we're going to Vegas.
Yes. And then we're going to go to Colorado.
Tanya will see you when we get to Vegas.
And then we're going to be going to Sacramento. We're going to Orlando. We're going to Bay Pines, VA. I mean, our month is crazy. And then we're going to go to Sacramento, California.
Yeah.
I think that's our last trip. But
and yeah, Joe, we're going to Boston. We're going to Quincy.
Yeah. So don't forget, June 15th from 6 to 9, Dr. J in Quincy, Massachusetts will be having his open house. Everybody that's in the Boston area or in that area and wants a mini OWCP training, come on. There's going to be appetizers and
or just
drinks.
To come hang out and talk.
Yeah, we're going to bring some books with us. So if you want a free book, come on down.
Or come to what? What is that?
Come to
Jalen, what is that? MPLS?
Memphis? Is that Memphis?
Minneapolis.
Oh, we will come. Like I said, once our doctors start getting more of you guys coming in this way, it's so much easier for us. We can come in and train a bunch of you guys. We'll do steward training.
And Joe said he's going to be there. Joe, bring all your friends. I'd like to meet a lot of people over there.
Yeah.
One of the things about me is that I'm super introverted, but I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this topic and some others.
Yeah.
So, but I do want to meet you. I'm really excited to do it. I love getting to know people. I have so many friends that are on this feed tonight because I've been able and had the opportunity to just really get to know them. And so many of our friends are like family to us. And
oh, yeah.
That's what matters the most. You know, I'm a relationship guy. I love getting to know you and saying, you know, I got a friend in Boston or I got a friend in Vegas. You know, I got a friend in Spring Hill. I'd like to know where my friends are. And so many of you are. So I'd like to have a few more. So show up. I'm not just saying that. Like, that's me. I love it. Even though I'm introverted, I love to meet new people.
Yeah, we get so flattered because a lot of the times when we start building relationships with you guys and then you guys are wanting to take us out for dinner and have us over at your house for lunch or something.
And we eat lunch.
We like it. We're like, oh, because like people see us out in places or at the airport and they're like, oh my gosh, that's Chris and Gini from the chats.
I'm not famous.
And we're like,
so she's definitely famous. Okay. She's a public figure. Ask Facebook. Jalen, you're very welcome. I'm glad you were here. She said, I'm assuming I apologize if I'm wrong about that. It's hard to know with Jalen, but first time viewer.
Welcome.
Are so happy to have you. And next week, we expect to have a whole bunch of people that are new people, new viewers, new viewers, because you're going to tell 3 people.
Okay. So somebody asked, where can you get the books?
Say the date again for Quincy.
It is www.breakingowcp.
3 W's.
And then somebody asked, the comment already went, if we have any locations in California. We have 3 right there.
Yeah. And when are we going to be in Quincy?
We are going to be in Quincy, Massachusetts, June 15th. It's on a Thursday from 6 to 9. Appetizers, drinks, and I'm going to come have fun. I don't know what Chris is going to do, but I'm coming to have fun in Massachusetts.
She's going to have fun, so we're all good.
You guys are so knowledgeable. And
thanks, PK.
And then the last thing I want to end with tonight is you're going to see we're going to be all over in our Federal Injury Center Sky office.
35,000 feet.
Yeah. So our June is already starting to fill up. So please, if you have any union conventions or union training stewards or union meetings you want us to come to, we could do it by Zoom for the union trainings or even some of the steward trainings. Please, 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 you guys email me, have your union. It's either the union president, vice president, secretary, or treasurer that needs to email me, because somebody emailed me today and asked, set me up with a convention. Unfortunately, that was not a union member, because I was like, this is odd. And the questions they were just asking me, I was like, they're not in the union, like president or vice president. So unfortunately, I had to decline until they email us. That's the only time we can come.
And Rebecca said, can you help us defend against second opinion doctors who lie? I can't really go too much into that, but the answer in the future is going to be, I think, yes, I'm going to be able to help in a big way.
Yeah.
In the future, but I can't really go into that too much today, but I'm glad you brought it up. Can I get the information to a California office? Go to www.federalinjurycenters.com. Federal Injury Centers with an S on the end.com.
There, right
there
there.
it is. And at the very top, that top
Red
red
button.
box at the top is final locations. And go to California. You'll find the 3 in Southern Cal.
Yeah. So, guys, thank you so much. We know we just went over about like 20 minutes over. We're sorry, but stay tuned. Next week, tell your friends if they have any legal questions about schedule awards or third party. Show up next week because federal attorney Eric Blowers is going to be on. And then May 2nd, we're going to have woodshed night. I'm going to come in a woodshed gear. I'm ready. What do you wear when you're in the woodshed?
You wear long pants, maybe overalls, definitely some work boots.
I'm going to find me a
and
pair
some
of
gloves
overalls.
because you don't want the 2x4 to split.
Yes. My axe, my overalls, and my boots. I'm on it. Do I wear a hat?
You're not going to need an axe for woodshed night. We don't axe people.
No, it's just there to say, hey,
we just
be
tan their
careful
hide a little bit with some wood.
So thank you guys again for tuning in. Don't forget, you can find all of our locations at federalinjurycenters.com. You can buy the books at Breaking OWCP, and we are on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and 5 pages of Facebook.
Yeah.
So we will see you guys next week. Schedule awards. I'll be there.
With Eric Blowers next week. Tell your friends. Everyone likes Eric better than me. I'm going to get over it.
Yeah, so
be here next week.
We'll see you guys next week.
Good night.
Bye.